Welcome back to Fool Us, where magicians risk other people's lives and limbs as well as their own self-esteem in an attempt to fool Penn and Teller. Let's meet our next potential fooler.
Hi, my name is Jen Kramer, and I live right here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. So when I went to Yale, I became a theater major because they didn't have a major in witchcraft and wizardry. I figured Yale is basically Hogwarts. I'll join the Magic Society. And I show up on campus, and turns out there wasn't a Magic Society. So I decided to start one, and I'm proud to say it's still going strong. So when I was 14 years old, I was dreaming of being in Las Vegas one day, of performing on a big stage. Now that I'm doing my show here, there will be girls who come up after the show and say, you know, I never considered magic. But then I saw the show, and, you know, now I think magic is so cool. And that, to me, is so rewarding. I love that about magic.
This next performer went to Yale, which is an adorable American version of real colleges like Oxford and Cambridge. Will you please welcome Jen Kramer?
Thank you so much for that warm welcome. It is wonderful to be here with you all. I did just graduate from Yale University, and now I'm doing, thank you, now I'm doing magic full-time. Or Mom and Dad, if you're watching, I am a brain surgeon, just like I told you. I do these card tricks to keep my fingers nimble. Thank you. And I'd like to show you right now one of my all-time favorite card tricks. Jonathan, would you join me on stage? Let's hear it for Jonathan Ross, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Jonathan. So great to meet you. Jonathan, I have a deck of cards here in random order. I'd like you to please take a look at that deck of cards, all mixed up there. Now, Jonathan, I'm going to give you some very explicit instructions. I need you to do exactly what I tell you to do. Can you do that, Jonathan?
I will try my best.
Excellent. I know you can do it. You're married, right? You know how to follow instructions.
Yes.
All right. Here's what we'll do. We'll divide the cards so they're half and half-ish. You're going to take one half. I'm going to take one half. Which half would you like?
This half.
That half. Go for it. Give that half a shuffle, if you would. Really mix it up well there.
More
you
shuffle?
Got them however much you'd like. It's up to you.
They're
You're
fully
all set.
shuffled.
Great. Now I'm going to turn around so that I can't possibly see what you're doing, Jonathan. But what I would like you to do is please spread the cards out. You can see just like this.
Yep.
Spread the cards out so that you can see all of the options.
Yep.
And then I'd like you to think of any one of those cards that you see.
Okay.
But have you got one in mind?
I've got most in my mind right now, but I'll go back to just one. Okay, I've changed it. I've got one in my mind.
You've got one in your mind, and you'll remember that card.
I'm going to try my best.
Terrific. All right, Jonathan, I'll grab back the cards. We'll shuffle them all together, in fact.
Okay.
And are you ready for your next instructions?
Yes.
You've been doing very well following instructions so far. Make sure they're nice and mixed up. Would you hold out, you're right-handed, yes? Would you hold out your left hand, actually, because I'm going to have you deal some cards.
Okay.
All right, terrific. Now, this is so that the cards are entirely out of my control right now, Jonathan. You've got the cards right there.
I have the power.
Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is please deal the cards face down onto my palm, starting from the top of the deck until I say stop. All right, and by the way, now that the cards are completely out of my control, you can let everyone know what's the card you're just thinking of.
I thought of the 8 of diamonds.
The 8 of diamonds?
Yes.
All right, well, please go ahead, and I'd like you to start dealing down cards there until I say stop. Oh, stop. It was quick, but it was good while it lasted.
I've heard that far too often in my life.
Now, Jonathan, just to recap here for a moment, you looked at the cards, you were thinking in your mind of a single card, you shuffled the deck, you dealt the cards.
Absolutely.
Right here, the card you're thinking of, Jonathan?
The 8 of diamonds?
8 of diamonds, let's see how we did. Go for it.
Wow!
The 8 of diamonds. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, that was fabulous. No idea how that went, because I had hold of them all the time there. So Penn and Teller are going to talk and work out if they can work out how you did that. I was kind of on top of it there. I couldn't see anything. I had no idea. Let me ask you about your schooling bit, though. You speak 4 languages, is that right?
I do.
What are those languages?
I speak English, French, Spanish, and Swahili.
Wow. Well, I can see why you would want to learn some of them, but why French?
I know. Nobody speaks that language.
That's crazy. What's the situation for you, being a woman in magic? What are the advantages and what are the disadvantages of that?
You know, I think there are advantages and disadvantages. You know, advantages being that I guess you sort of stand out just by nature of being a woman. Disadvantages also being that things can be a little bit more challenging. You know, the magic books are written for men in men's clothing and that type of thing.
Yeah, I guess because if you're wearing a big jacket, then you could conceal stuff far more easily than coming out with bare sleeves. So,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I think they're ready now. They've deliberated long enough. Penn?
Well, you know, the temptation, because women in magic are so rare, is to talk about how refreshing it is to see someone with a couple of X chromosomes up there. But I don't think that's the most interesting thing about this. The most interesting thing about this is not your gender, but rather that what you did is a trick, and the audience probably can't tell the difference. What you did as a trick was predominantly intellectual. And a lot of the people that come out here and do tricks, it's finger flinging, it's what I would call juggling. It's a huge amount of physical practice. Yes. What you were doing there is a huge amount of mental practice. As a matter of fact, when you got to the place when you had to do a shuffle that, you had to do your shuffle, yes. You could see that your handling of the cards was not as smooth as your handling of your mind. I'm going to say a couple of names to you. There's a great Spanish magician named Juan Tamariz, and there's another great Chicago magician named Aronson. Yes. And I bet that either of those two guys have a pretty good idea of the capacity you had. And I want to tell you, my favorite kinds of card tricks use this technique because I love it when it's up here instead of here. You got a pretty good idea?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But I'm assuming that kind of, the codes and the names mentioned there, that's enough for you to believe that they know what you were doing?
It was all done up here, Jonathan, all done up here.
Yeah. That's why I was so good to work with, because nothing was being done up here. But you were fantastic. It blew us all away for sure, even if you didn't fall them. Jen was wonderful, wasn't she? Jen Kramer, ladies and gentlemen. That was fabulous. Jen Kramer. Thank you, Jen.